welcome everybody to the Frivolous podcast, episode 15. Yes, we're back. We are back at it like a bad habit, like we never left. I took a little week off there. I didn't really say that I was going to do that. I mentioned in episode 14 that I was potentially thinking about changing the frequency of like the episodes, but I was like, I'll let you guys know when that happens. And then I never did, so that's cool. I did that. And I'll go into details and stuff like that more at the end of the episode. So we'll talk about that then. But yeah, we're back. I enjoyed the little week off. And even with an extra week to plan and prepare and, think of topics for this podcast, I still don't have like a ton to talk about. And it's just the weirdest thing to me. That's just kind of how summer's been though. Like I don't have like during when I was working during the school year, it's like I could at least have, like stories from work and about kids and the weird things they say and do. But it's like now it's like, okay, I don't have any of that. So I don't really have any of those work stories. So we just got to hold off until like end of August, and then things should get more interesting for the solo episodes. Thanks for tuning in to the 15th episodes. It's really crazy to say 15. I mean, 16 weeks in 50. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. 15 episodes in 16 weeks is pretty crazy. And I'm pretty proud of that, to be honest with you. It's just a really cool like feat and achievement. So thanks for anybody who's tuned into all of them. I know we've got a few people who have tuned into all of them, so shout out to you guys. And even if you've only tuned into like 3 or 4, that's still really cool as well. I hope you guys are having a good summer so far. My summer's been like, I don't want to say meh, but it's just been like chill. It's been mundane, I guess you could say, which is kind of how I wanted it to be. I like doing things, do not get me wrong. Like I do like going out and doing stuff and like having plans or going on trips or whatever, but I don't like when that's like my entire summer is just filled with that. I do like being able to just like stay home, do whatever I want and like chill out. And I've been doing a lot of that, and I've been able to like focus a lot on other creative endeavors, which is partially why the podcast has taken a little bit of a, I don't want to say it's like it's not going downhill, but like why I took a week off is because I'm focusing so much on some other projects right now, and that's like really stuff that I'm thinking about like super hard and focusing on. And so like I'm not thinking as much about the podcast and stuff like that, and that's on me. I know I have a really big problem like starting projects and like getting really hype and happy about them and being like really excited for them, and then going to another project after that and then doing that and then not finishing it. So I'll have like 7 or 8 unfinished projects, and then like I'll just never go back to them, or I'll go back to them like months and months later. It's super bad. It's probably the ADHD that I have. That's actually a funny story. There's a friend who listens to the podcast, and I'm gonna call her out. She messaged me after, I think it was, I don't know if it was the episode I had with Anthony or if it was the episode, my last solo episode, so episode 14. She messaged me. I woke up to a text and she was like, "Do you have ADHD?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, I don't think so. I don't know. And she was like, "Oh, just the way you like talk and jump from topic to topic, it reminds me of somebody who has ADHD, because I have ADHD and I do the same thing." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe I've been living my whole life with undiagnosed ADHD, so that's something that I'm gonna joke about forever until I get officially diagnosed or officially not diagnosed." Like it's not one of those things that like I would be upset or scared to have. It would actually make a lot of sense, but it's just so funny because I was like, I don't know, and like being a psychology major, I learned a lot about like ADHD and like autism and disorders like that. So like the fact that I know so much about it and it never clicked to me like, oh, that describes me. It was really funny. And also another symptom of ADHD is starting projects and then not finishing them and like going from, because you can't focus on it for so long. So I don't know, it kind of makes sense, but we'll just joke about it for now to hide the seriousness of it. But I thought it was really funny, like just waking up to a text being like, "Do you have ADHD?" I was just like, what? It was really funny. So shout out to her. I am working on getting more guests on the podcast. I know this is another solo episode. We will be getting more guests on. and I'm gonna start repeating guests soon as well, and I will go into that a bit more later. But I know this is technically supposed to be an episode where I'm interviewing somebody and I have a guest on, but I'm working on all that. Things are kind of crazy right now, in a good way. And so like there's just a lot going on like around my life and around people that I know and care about. And it's good. Like it's not anything bad. I'm not complaining, but it's just like it's hard for me to like schedule that stuff first of all. And second of all, like, and this is really the actual hardest thing. It's really hard for me to ask people to come on the podcast. Like I don't want to say embarrassed. It's because it's not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed about the podcast, but it's almost like I don't know. I just feel weird being like, do you want to come on? Because I don't want them to think that, like, I think this podcast is the coolest thing in the world and that it's worth everybody's time. And they should take time out of their busy schedule to come on and talk to me. You know what I mean? I don't want them to think that, like, I'm like, oh, come on my podcast. It'd be good for you. You could use the exposure. But, like, I legit just, like, you know, I mean, obviously I've had however many guests I've had on. And, I mean, to be fair to those guests, those are all really, really good friends of mine. And then there was Nia, who was just I really didn't have to roast her like that. She's a friend, but I mean, her boyfriend's like one of my best friends, who needs to come on. By the way, I'm calling him out on the podcast. I don't care. So, anyways, I'm working on that, but it's just like it's hard because, like I said, I have friends who listen to the podcast, and I guarantee you, like most of them would be totally willing to come on, but it's just like putting myself out there and be like, do you want to come on? And then it's like, it can just be so weird, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's so, like, I have people in mind, too. I have, like, I can think of, I'm not going to name them because there's no point. You guys don't know who they are. I can name at least 3, 4, or 5 people off the top of my head that I would want to have on the podcast, but I just, like, need to ask and, like, do it. And it's just really funny because, like, that's just kind of how, I mean, that's just anxiety and social anxiety when you think about it, you know? It's just like, hey, you want to, like, would you want to do this thing? Even though I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I can't talk right now. Holy crap. But that's like social anxiety. It's like, all right, I'm going to do this thing, but the person that I'm asking or telling is just not going to care or just think it's stupid, right? That's what I was trying to say, and I just really couldn't. I'm all over the place. Maybe I do have ADHD. Maybe my friend was right, so that's cool. That's fine. That's fun. Like I said, there's not a ton to talk about today. It's actually like really difficult for me to think of stuff to talk about right now. And I don't want to talk about stuff for the sake of talking about stuff because I feel like I can be very repetitive. You know, I've talked a lot about horror movies and I've talked a lot about like paranormal stuff and I've talked, stuff like that. And as much as I love topics like that and like I genuinely like am passionate about that type of stuff, I don't want to like beat a dead horse. You know, I don't want to be repetitive and keep doing the same old because part of what makes a podcast interesting is diversity and like different dynamics and different topics. And obviously there are some podcasts out there, there's like literally true crime podcasts, and I'm sure there's like supernatural or paranormal podcasts out there that only talk about that stuff, but they're talking about, they'll mention stories and different things from those topics. I usually just talk about the stuff that I like about it. You know, I'm very repetitive with that, so I do try to avoid it, even though that's like a lot of what I think about is that type of stuff. I'm just a huge movie guy, as you guys know. Speaking of movies, actually, I'm just gonna give a little quick shout out. I went to the movies a couple weeks ago, a little date night with the fiance, with the finance, and we saw The Black Phone, which is a really good movie. Really good movie. I really liked it. And apparently, it was written by Stephen King's son. I shouldn't say apparently. It was. The original short story was written by Stephen King's son. So it's like, I guess writing horror just runs in that family, so that's cool. That's a little side note. I wasn't really gonna talk about that movie because it's like a psychological thriller / horror, but it's more psychological thriller with a couple jump scares in it. Very interesting, very good, cool. Ethan Hawke does an insane job, and the 2 kids in the movie are there's more than 2 kids, but the brother and sister in the movie are great actors, especially for their age. They did awesome. So that was a really good movie. If you like thrillers or horror, I recommend seeing it, or you can just wait till it comes out on like streaming. I'm sure it'll be on demand or on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or HBO Max or Paramount Plus. I mean, Apple TV, just name it. It'll probably be on it. Like, holy crap, there's way too many of those. Oh, I'm going to talk about that. But I'm going to mention this first because I'll forget. I've talked about Pixar movies on here before, which I should I should actually rank them. I know I did like an unofficial rank up with them where I did my top 5, but I should do an actual rank up. I think that'd be interesting now that I'm thinking about it. I watched the movie Soul a couple days ago for the first time. I hadn't seen it before, and it was actually like solid. I mean, I shouldn't say actually. Like, I wasn't surprised that it was solid. It was a good movie. I actually liked the message that it had. You know, this guy, Joe Gardner, Jamie Foxx's character, had been spending his whole life wanting to do this thing and be this musician. Finally gets his big break. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that he technically dies and comes back and stuff here and there. But finally gets a chance to perform after all this and goes through all this work to get to it, and then does it and feels nothing. And I thought that was kind of a really good, that was a really good message. And I thought that was really cool. And I didn't really expect that, honestly. I kind of expected it to, like, he'd perform and then he'd be happy, but he'd be sad about what he did to, what was her name? I want to say 22. It wasn't 11. 11 Stranger Things. I think it was 22. It was 20-something. And so I thought that was really cool and really well done. And then it was cool that they didn't have him die in the end. And they gave him a second chance, and he was able to, like, live life to the fullest. Really cool, really good movie. I mean, not really good, but, like, really great message for a movie. The movie was, like, I'd probably say, like, 6 out of 10. I don't think I'd personally watch it again if I had to, but it's not, like, one of those ones that's, like, if somebody's like, do you want to watch it? I'd be like, oh, no, like, not, like, roll my eyes at it. Also, in this movie, we watched, my fiance and I, my finance and I, we watched it a couple nights ago, like 2 nights ago. Guys, this movie, if you have kids or not, you should watch this movie. Like, no joke. It's a family movie and it's for kids, but you should genuinely watch this movie. It's the new Chip and Dale. I think it's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is, I believe, what it's called. It's on Disney Plus, and my goodness, it's really good. Like, the story itself, I will admit, is meh. It's, it's just Chip and Dale, and they had a falling. I'll give you the synopsis without, like, spoiling the movie, because I want you guys to see it. But it's like Chip and Dale, and it's like the life of the actors that play Chip and Dale. So it's like obviously they had this big TV show, but it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the life of Chip and Dale outside of acting. So it's like they're just cartoons living in the world, and it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it's a mixture of live action and cartoons. And this one was really cool because there were so many different types of cartoons. There was, like, claymation at one point. One of the characters is like a clay. I think he's putty or whatever. But and then there's like there's 2D animation. There's Chip is 2D, and then Dale is 3D. And that's how it goes for a lot of the movie. A lot of the 2D characters are somewhat 3D-ish, but they're in the 2D, like, graphics, if that makes any sense. But they had a bunch of different animation styles mixed in with the, just normal mixed in with it, and then they also had live action. It was really well done, like, very surprisingly well done. It was not at all what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just a movie where, like, it was just, I don't even know what I thought it would be. I really only wanted to watch it because Andy Samberg was the voice of Dale, and I love Andy Samberg, and John Mulaney voices Chip, and they're both very funny. But it had an insane cast. It had I almost said it had Chip and Dale. It did have Chip and Dale, but it had Andy Samberg, John Mulaney, Seth Rogen, Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, J.K. Simmons. Like, they had Paul Rudd made a little cameo. Spoiler, not really a spoiler, but it was really cool and really well done. And, like, there's so many little Easter eggs in the movie. Like, they have so many references to not only like old Disney cartoons, but to cartoons that they don't even have the rights to. Like, there's references to Squidward from SpongeBob, which obviously that's Nickelodeon. There's at one point you see Randy Marsh from South Park in there. They made a reference to, there was a Rick and Morty, like, brief cameo, or, like, the animation style was in there. They had Jimmy Neutron's hair in it at one point. There was a thing from Kingdom Hearts in it. Like, there's so many, like, little things, and it was really, really impressive and really well done. So I recommend watching it. Like, if you have kids, they'd probably like it. But it's honestly, to me, it's one of those movies that, like, people my age or older will like because it references a lot of the older cartoons, and obviously a lot of the Easter eggs are the older cartoons. So obviously the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers TV show was in the 90s, I believe. Yeah, I think it was early 90s is what the show said. So if you grew up watching that show, it references that show. It references Peter Pan. He's a character in it, and obviously he had the movie growing up. when you were kids, and obviously not. I don't know if how many kids would have seen the Peter Pan, like the original Peter Pan nowadays. I don't know how interested they'd be in it, but like they reference a lot of like the cartoons that I grew up watching, and even a little bit of stuff that was before my time. So it's, as much as it is like a family movie and a kids movie, it's like the parents and like people my age will enjoy it more than like the kids, because you'll see the little like a character in the background and be like, oh my god, that's that person, that's Phineas from Phineas and Ferb or whatever, you know what I mean? And like, so I do recommend it. It's very interesting. It's very cool. Like, again, the story is what the story is. It's very typical, you know, for a family movie, but it's the concept of it and everything is cool. I really liked it. So from a filmographer, film lovers, I'm not a filmographer, that's not the word. From a film lover's perspective, it was really cool. Like just like the creative aspect of it. Oh my god, there's something I don't know if this isn't a spoiler. There's a character in it. Like, this is actually no. They have a really good reference. Ah, dude, I'm gonna say it. No, I won't say it. They have a really good reference to a mess up that they did a couple years ago with Sonic the Hedgehog. If you guys remember the whole catastrophe with the original Sonic the Hedgehog that came out with I don't know if you guys remember when it came out and like the original animation was really bad. They have a really good reference to that in the movie, and it's really funny. And I don't know. Funny thing is, I don't think Disney owns Sonic. I could be wrong on that, but isn't that Nintendo? So the fact that they got him to be in the movie is funny, or not him to be in the movie, but like they got the reference in the movie is funny. By the way, do you guys think that was legit? The whole, like, when they released the original trailer and the original like screen grab of the Sonic movie, and he looked awful, like he looked like somebody had tried drawing him from memory and then they decided to animate that. Do you think that was legit, or do you think that was like a marketing thing to get people to see the movie, like to get more attention on the movie? I legitimately don't think it was real. I think, like, here's the thing, like, because the when they redid it, he looked perfect. He looked just like Sonic the Hedgehog, like from the video games and the cartoons and all that. Like, he looked just like it. So I just have such a hard time believing that they sat in a room and they drew the original one that they drew with the human teeth and all, and they were like, this is a great idea for it, and this looks perfect. Like, there's just no way. I can't, and maybe they did. Honestly, maybe they did, but I just can't imagine that a room full of producers and writers and editors and like network executives and all that saw that and were like, yeah, that's good. You know what I mean? Like, it says, like, I can't, I feel like they did it and they knew people would not like it and make fun of it, and then it became so memed that they supposedly got bullied into redoing it and had to, you know, delay the movie, which, again, I don't believe. I think it was all part of the plan. And then they reanimated it, and then it made it look perfect. It's like, you mean to tell me you couldn't have made it look like that the first time? Because the first Sonic that they like released, the one that they showed in the trailer, looked like a crack. It looked like a methed out Sonic, or like his like weird like incest second cousin or something. Like, it did not look anything like Sonic. Like, if you had been like, that's Sonic the Hedgehog, you'd be like, no, it's not. That's like the off-brand like one that you have, that's to like avoid copyright. That's like the bootlegged version of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's what it looked like. So I don't know. That's just my thought on it. I mean, I think a lot of stuff that Hollywood studios do is more intentional than I think a lot of us think it is. They're a lot smarter and than I think we give them credit for, even though they're not super. I'm not trying to say that Hollywood studios and Hollywood people in general are super smart, but they have a very methodical way of doing things. So I just have a hard time thinking that they would do that no, not unintentionally. Golly. Okay. Okay. I really do have ADHD. It seems like. I do want to. The rant I was gonna go on. Hey, why do we have 17,000 streaming services? Like, why? Why is that a thing? I'm gonna name the ones that I can think of, and there's gonna be the best part is there's gonna be some that I forget. Off the top of my head, we obviously have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Peacock. There's Tubi, which is Tubi and Peacock and Pluto are free, but if you want like the really good stuff or no ads, you have to pay for them. For those three. Okay, I just named 10. I just named 10 in like the span of like 7 seconds. and I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but I'm sure I'm missing something. But it's like, dude, why do we have, Discovery Plus or something has, I think Discovery Channel has something, like, it's like Discovery Plus or some crap. And there's there's ESPN Plus. Like, what's with all the plus? Like, what is with this stuff, man? Like, can we just, it's so annoying. Like, the packages that, it's like, if I want to watch this really good show, I have to go to Netflix. But then if I want to watch this really good show, I have to go to Apple TV. But then if I want to watch this movie, I got to go to HBO Max. But then it's like, dude, you end up paying more for the streaming services than you would for like regular cable at that point. It's just ridiculous. Hulu actually has a really good deal, not a really good deal, but just a good deal where it's like if you get Hulu, and I don't know if it's just the live Hulu or if it's any Hulu, you can get Disney Plus and ESPN Plus for free, I think it is, which is cool because then you're getting like 3 for the price of 1, which is awesome. But it's like more companies need to do that. We need to have more companies like combined together, and obviously Disney and ESPN are owned by the same people, and they probably own Hulu, which is why they do that, because they're a huge monopoly. But I think like if you could like buy a package, be like, all right, if you buy this package, you'll get Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime Video. It's like, okay, but I guess Prime Video would be its own thing because of the subscription to Amazon Prime. So that then we'll throw in, I don't know, Pluto, or we'll throw in Tubi. I like Tubi. Or if you get this one, you know what I mean? Like if I could pay like 1 or 2 flat rates for all 8 of them or whatever, that'd be a lot better. But it's just ridiculous, man. And then it's like, you know what makes me mad too? Oh, this makes me so mad. It's like, they're like, all right, you can pay $10 a month just for the regular one, or you can pay $13 a month for it with no ads. And I'm like, hey, why don't you just give me no ads in the first place? I'm already giving you $10 a month. Like, what does the extra $3 do? What does my extra $3 do per month for you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is that paying for? It makes me so mad. I'm like, I'm already paying $10 a month or whatever it is, Hulu. Like, why does an extra $3 or $4 really matter to you so that I don't have to get ads? Like, oh, it's just so frustrating. It's just so dumb. And it's like, we're going to get to the point where like cable's already becoming kind of obsolete. Cause I mean, how many of you legitimately sit down and watch cable television? Cause think about it. If you're going to watch a TV show or even a movie, first of all, if you want to see a movie, you can go to a theater, even though it's like $75 a ticket. Talk about inflation. But like, if you want to see a TV, let's say there's a TV show like that you really want to watch, right? And it airs, in September or whatever. Like, let's say, I know a lot of people like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. That obviously airs once a week whenever the season starts. I don't know when the season starts. Don't get mad at me. But it's like, instead of having cable TV, just have Hulu, and then you'll get the episode like the day after the air date. So like, if it airs on Saturday, you'll get the episode on Sunday. Like, so you don't even have to wait very long, and then you're like just as caught up as everybody else basically. So I don't know why I can't even think of a reason why you'd have cable TV. Like, I mean, I for me personally, it would be like sports. I like to watch sports, but other than that, and even then, that's a whole nother subject. Not streaming, but like watching sports is a bigger headache than trying to like jump around all these like streaming services. Trying to like find shows or movies that are on, on all the streaming services you have, Netflix, like all that. That's annoying. Don't get me wrong. And like, it can be really annoying because it's like, it's even more annoying, by the way, when there's a show or movie that you really want to watch that isn't on any streaming service. It's like, dude, there's like 46 of these and you're not on one of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not on any of these. Like, how is that possible? That makes me really mad. Like, what is your studio doing? Because you're missing out on easy money and easy plays. Like, you know how many movies and like shows, well, not really shows, but movies that I've watched on any of the streaming services that I would have never watched if it wasn't for them being just available to me at my house. Like, and that's just extra views and extra like revenue that you could be making. But hey, that's not my business, I guess. But sports is way worse. Sports, it's like sports is a lot more like, I don't want to say monopolized, but it's like there's like one big company that owns like so there's obviously like major sports is MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, whatever. But like each NFL, like DirecTV has like the biggest rights to the NFL. There's a package that you can buy through DirecTV that like gets you can watch any football game during the week, or not during the week, but on Sunday. Any game that's on Sunday you can watch besides like the Sunday night ones. It's so complicated. But any game that's not nationally televised, you can watch on the DirecTV. It's called Sunday Ticket. MLB has one called Extra Innings or whatever. Oh, it's MLB TV now, and it's through T-Mobile. But and that's the same thing. You can, if you buy it, you can watch it but here's where it gets complicated, and it's really complicated for MLB and NBA. It's not as bad for NFL because, at least not where I live, because a lot of NFL games are national, they have more nationally televised games because their schedule is, it's very constant. It's every Sunday and Monday, and I guess Thursday now too. But NBA and MLB, if you live close to a region, like let's say, like I live in Oregon, so like if I wanted to watch the Trailblazers, right, I have to have a certain package to watch the Trailblazers, and even then, like I'm not guaranteed to watch the Trailblazers game because I'm not like guaranteed to get it. It's so stupid because it's like whatever company owns the rights to like stream Trailblazers games, they make it hard. Like it's so ridiculous. Like if there was a game like on there, each sport has like their own network. There's MLB network, there's NFL network, there's NBA TV. Like there's these channels on cable television. Like NBA TV, if they were showing the Trailblazers game and they were playing, I don't know, the Atlanta Hawks or whatever, I probably wouldn't be able to watch that game because it would be blacked out because I live in Oregon and the Trailblazers obviously are in Oregon. So the whoever owns the rights to stream the Trailblazers games and to show them on TV, they're blacking it out for me because they want me to buy the package that makes it so I can watch those games. And it's so ridiculous. It's just so dumb. And that's how MLB is too. Like you get games blacked out for you because you live in a certain region, and it's just so dumb. Like it makes no sense. There should be no blackouts for sports or anything like that. If I should be able to live wherever I want and watch any sports game that I want as long as I'm paying for like TV. Like if I have the channel, like I should be able to have it. I shouldn't have to pay extra for just because I live in like the same state as the team I want to watch. Like that makes no sense to me. Like it's just so dumb. Every sport, NFL actually has done a pretty good job of it, and nobody really cares. But I'm ranting. But like MLB and NBA has made it so hard for fans to like actually watch their favorite teams in their favorite like state or hometown because it's because of the blackouts. It's just ridiculous and it's so dumb and it needs to change. And like you would not believe how many people pirate like NBA and MLB games because that's the only way that you can actually like watch it in your area because of the blackouts and because there's like the rights and it's such a mess. And I'm not even explaining it very well, and there's more like logistics to it than I even know and can think of off the top of my head. Like I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't really like put it into words. But it's just really dumb. If you're ever really bored and you're curious about it, I recommend looking it up and looking up how ridiculous like the blackouts and stuff are because it's just so dumb. It's very frustrating, and like it goes back to the whole streaming thing too. Like it's just there's too many options, there's too many things, and it's like it's so dumb that I have to pick and choose like. All right, am I going to be paying $80 a month for these 7 streaming services, or am I just going to miss out on like one of my favorite shows or whatever because I don't want to pay for it? Like, think about it. I can think of a really good TV show on almost every single streaming platform. Netflix, you have Netflix has a ton. I mean, Netflix original TV shows are really good. I actually talked to my friend about this the other day. Netflix original TV shows are really good, but Netflix original movies are either really good or really bad. There's no in between. Like the movies tend to be worse than the TV shows. Like the TV shows, obviously, off the top of my head, you have Stranger Things, you have you have Peaky Blinders. Is that one? I don't know. You have Mindhunter. You have I'm blanking on a ton as well, but you get the point. Netflix original movies, it's like all right. They're definitely quantity over quality company over there at Netflix headquarters, but that's okay. But anyways, you think of Netflix, you have Stranger Things, and like I just said, you have on Hulu. Oh man, I don't actually know on Hulu. I can't think of a Hulu original off the top of my head. I'm not like I have Hulu, but I'm not well versed in Hulu originals. Isn't like the Handmaid's Tale on there? That's not an original though. I don't know. There's something on there, and somebody's yelling at me right now. There's probably a really good Hulu original. But, like, Amazon Prime has The Boys, which is, like, one of the biggest TV shows in the world right now. I would say it's probably number 2 right now behind Stranger Things. Maybe that's controversial to say. I mean, I think, obviously, Stranger Things is the number 1 show in the world right now. But I think The Boys is right behind it, if not at number 3. Apple TV has Ted Lasso, and, which has been well-renowned as well. So, like, all these streaming platforms have like these really good shows and really like shows that people want to binge and watch, but it's like, oh, I have to pay for 7 different things, and it's just like, dude, this is so dumb. It's just so ridiculous. Like how have we come to this? You know what I mean? It's like Netflix. What have you done? I'm just kidding. Like Netflix started this, and like, all right, we're gonna do this thing, and then everybody has to copy it now, and now it's like, and the worst part is everybody's doing like original shows with it. It's not like there's movies that are on multiple streaming services, but it's like I can't watch Stranger Things on Hulu obviously because it's a Netflix original, and I can't watch The Boys on Apple TV because it's an Amazon Prime original. It's like all these companies and networks want to do these originals that are stuck on their service because they want people to go to their service for that show. I guarantee you that there are people that only have Amazon Prime to watch The Boys and people that only have Apple TV to watch Ted Lasso or whatever. So I don't know. It's just so dumb. I've gone on this rant long enough. I know. Sorry if half the stuff I said didn't make sense. I was trying to explain the sports thing so well, and I really, when I started talking, I realized I don't know how to explain it. I understand how it works in my head, but again, I don't know how to like put it into words, which is fine because that's just how I work. So that being said, we are going into we're gonna be going into cable TV right now. So what kind of cable TV? We are going into our rank up. This is gonna be a shorter episode, so I know it might be kind of early to do rank up, but we're gonna be doing rank up right now. And I'm actually excited about this one. I have a good idea for the next couple rank ups. Well, this one included, so really the next 2. Actually, the next 3. I'll say that. And I don't know if I might hint at what I'll do next week, but I'm really excited for this one because we're gonna be doing something that I love to watch. We're going to be doing a game show rank up. So basically, if you don't know how this works, we're going to be looking at game shows. There's going to be like a matchup. It's going to be this game show versus this game show. I'm going to pick which one that I think is better. That one will move on to the next round. The one that loses is eliminated, and then so on and so forth until we have one ultimate champion. To preface, I did not make this list. I found this off the website Bracket Fights that I use for all this stuff. So if there's a game show that you really like that isn't on there, I'm sorry. I did skim through it. I didn't like go through it and do the matchups, but I just skimmed through to make sure they do have all. If I should say all, but they have probably most of the high name ones, like the ones that we would all recognize. So there shouldn't be any like egregious snubs or egregious ones that were left off. So just to preface that, but like I said, I didn't make this one. I do plan on making some in the future. Again, I couldn't think of what to do for this one, and I felt like this list, when I skimmed through it, was adequate enough to do what I wanted to do, and there wasn't much that I would have added or changed. So, without further ado, we're gonna get into it. Also, actually, hold on. Before I get into this, I do have to talk a little bit about my last rank up with the animated movies. That ended up being a heated argument with some of my friends, and I started thinking a little bit, Once sometimes you get in front of the camera, you get in front of the lights, you get a little, ahead of yourself, right? I think I got a little ahead of myself with it, and I got a little biased with some of the movies, Monster House and Over the Hedge. I will admit that those shouldn't have gone as far as they did. I can admit that, that should have not happened. I think I don't remember what I had in the finale. I think it was Monster House versus I don't remember what the other movie was. Monster House should have not been in the finale. I think Wall-E should have. Actually, it might have been Wall-E in the finale. Monster House probably shouldn't have gone as far as it did. I still think Monster House should have won maybe either 1, 2, or 3 matchups, but it definitely shouldn't have been, in the semifinals or in the championship. If it was in the championship, I can't remember off the top of my head. Same with Over the Hedge. Over the Hedge, again, should have won, maybe 1 or 2 rounds, but after that, it's just like, So I will admit I kind of messed it up. But to be fair, on some of them, some people are like, oh, my friends were arguing with me about stuff like Lion King stuff. I don't really like Lion King as much as everybody does. I don't know why. I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Everybody loves that movie, and I like I said, I don't think it's bad, but I'm just not. It's just not my type of movie, So I had no problem. I know it's iconic, but I had no problem having something beat it, which I think Over the Hedge beat it. And I don't know if I would actually change that. I really don't, because I'm just not a fan of Lion King, really. And I'm not. I do like Over the Hedge, but not as much as I really ranked it as. But I wanted to address that because it was kind of controversial. So looking back, I do think a movie like Wall-E should have won. If it didn't, I think Wall-E won. I can't remember what won, but something like Wall-E or even a Lion King could have been up there. But again, I'm not a huge fan of Lion King. There's a ton that I kind of snubbed, honestly, I feel like. So I'll admit that wasn't my best list. Okay, I kind of was rushing through it at the same time as well because I wanted it to be a quick episode. So I will admit I didn't give it the time to like marinate and think about it. So that's on me. Anyways, we're gonna be going into the game show showdown, as the person titled it, the game show rank up. And I'll think about this one, but this one's I'm not gonna need to think as much. You know, if you know a game show, you know a game show. So our first matchup here is Survivor versus Fear Factor. Now, I'm gonna be honest, and you guys know the rule. If I've never seen a show or movie or whatever before, and I've seen the other one in the matchup, the one that I've seen automatically wins, which makes sense. I can't vote on something if I haven't seen it, right? Well, I've never actually seen Survivor. I've seen clips from it and all that, but it's just never intrigued me. I'm gonna be honest. It's technically, is it a game show really? It's like a reality show. It's like a reality game show. I don't know. It's more reality TV to me than game show. And Survivor, I don't know. Fear Factor is kind of reality TV, I guess, as well, but it is a game show. You know, I mean, I guess Survivor is a game show. I don't know. I'm going to go Fear Factor, though, because I love Fear Factor. Joe Rogan's Fear Factor. I think they have the new one with Ludacris, so that doesn't count. Joe Rogan's Fear Factor was awesome. The stuff that they did on that is just actually so insane. And, like, that's winning just because of the insane stuff that they did. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that they were doing some of that stuff is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And, like, I don't know how it was allowed. Like, you know, looking back, I mean, I know it was like early 2000s when they did that, but like looking back, it's genuinely insane to me that they did that. Like, I don't understand how. Okay, second matchup is Double Dare versus, it says Guts, which is a Nickelodeon thing. I don't know what either of these are. So I'm going to go with, I might have seen Guts before if it's Nickelodeon, so I'll go with that. But I don't know what it is off the top of my head. And I'll pick it anyways because it says Guts, and that's funny. It's really not funny. Okay. Idiot Test versus Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Idiot Test is like it's not older. I think they're still doing it, but it's like it's like filled with trick questions and riddles, basically, and you have to kind of solve it. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? That one, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen. It's basically they have, I think it's like 5 or 6 fifth graders on set. They bring on one adult, and they ask them questions different grade levels, so that'll be like first grade reading, third grade math, fifth grade social studies, or whatever, and you have to answer those questions. And if they can't get it, they can ask a fifth grader, and if you can beat all the questions, you get this amount of money, and you are smarter than a fifth grader or whatever. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is going to win that one. That was an iconic show. I actually really used to like watching it when I was growing up. I was like around 4th or 5th grade when the show came out too, and I remember like watching it and be like, all right, yeah, these are easy. And then like they would get to like some of the 5th grade questions, and I'm like, what 5th grade are these kids going to? Like, they're asking about, like, the Pythagorean theorem or something. I'm like, what? When did you learn this? Why are you learning this in the 5th grade? I don't understand why they're doing calculus. Okay, we have next matchup. We have Press Your Luck versus Winsanity. Now, Winsanity is hosted by Donald Faison, who played Turk in Scrubs, but I've never seen that show. Press Your Luck, I've never seen the show, but I've played the game, like the arcade game at, like, David Buster's and stuff. So, because of that, I will go with Press Your Luck, even though the game itself seems kind of meh. Ooh. I guess, yeah, this is a game show. Cash Cab versus Best Ever Trivia Show. I've never seen the Best Ever Trivia Show, but I've seen Cash Cab, and I actually really like the Cash Cab. I think it's a really good show. The host, Ben Bailey, does a really good job. He's funny. He's, like, entertaining. He's nice. And honestly, like, to be able to, like, drive around New York and, like, think of the questions and interact with people, that is very impressive to do. He's very, like, New York traffic is no joke. So I'm very impressed by that. All right, next we have the Match Game versus Hole in the Wall. Now, everybody should know what the Match Game is. I've seen some, like, not some episodes, but I've seen some, like, clips and stuff, like, because my fiance and I, we like to watch Game Show Network to watch, like, you know, current game shows like Family Feud and stuff like that. But, like, sometimes the older Match Game will come on, because they have a newer version, but, like, the older Match Game will come on back when, like, Betty White was younger and, like, actresses and actors like that. And the host of that show was so creepy and so just like not like, if he was acting like that today, he would literally get canceled and be like he was just creepy. He was always like getting too close to like the female like actresses and the female guests and being a little too friendly and saying things you shouldn't say. So I just for that I don't want Match Game to win because I don't remember what the host's name was, but he was just very creepy and it's like, oh, it was a different time back then. I don't care, it's still creepy, still very creepy and like whatever. Hole in the Wall, if you don't know, I believe it originated in Japan. I don't know if this is like an American version of it or if this is what it's actually called, the Japanese version. But basically, it's actually, I used to love it as a kid. You stand on like a platform or whatever, and then they have this moving like piece. I'll just say it's cardboard. It's not cardboard, but like styrofoam cardboard, whatever. And it's in a certain shape, right? And in order for you to like win the game or do well, you have to like form your body into the shape of the hole in the cardboard, so that way it just passes by you. And you have to do that for a few times in a row, and it can get crazy. It can go really fast and make you jump and stuff. It's really, if you've never seen clips from it, I highly recommend because it's very entertaining. So I'll go Hole in the Wall. I used to love it as a kid, and it's one of those things that I actually would personally really like to do. I think it'd be really fun just to do that. So, all right, this one we have The Amazing Race versus, is this a game? Is it, Amazing Race, it's not really a game show. And neither is the second one. The second one's Wipeout. Is Wipeout a game? Wipeout's not really a game show. What would you consider Wipeout? And what would you get? Amazing Race, I consider reality TV. Wipeout, I don't know what I consider it. I really don't. I've never seen The Amazing Race though. To be fair, I've seen I've seen clips, but I've never seen the actual show. Wipeout, I love Wipeout. I used to love it as a kid. I love it now. Well, I don't love it now because it's not the same. Whenever they stop doing a show for a little bit and then they like rebrand it and then they get new hosts or whatever, it's not the same. And I think it's John Cena and Nicole Byer that host it. They just they don't do it for me. Wipeout's one of those shows too. I'm picking Wipeout to win. That like, I don't know if you guys ever seen Wipeout, but I watch it. I'm like, dude, I could do that easily. But then like I think about it, like I thought like as an adult, and I'm like, man, like some of it, like I would get tired swimming in that water, all that, and you know what I mean. You're running, then you're swimming, and you're getting punched in the face. You're bouncing off those big red balls. Which, by the way, I do think I could go across all four of those big red balls. That's probably my toxic trait, is that I think I could go across those, no problem. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. It's a classic show. It's like, well, not classic, but it's iconic. This. I've never heard of either of these two. Well, actually, no, I've heard of the one on the right. Sorry. The one on the left is called Emo Genius. It looks like it's about emojis. And the one on the right is called Supermarket Sweep. I've heard of Supermarket Sweep, so I'm just going to go with it. I've never seen either one of those, but I've heard of Supermarket Sweep, so I actually know what it is. All right. Now we have the second round of this side of the bracket. We have Fear Factor versus the Nickelodeon Guts show. Fear Factor is going to win because I haven't seen the Nickelodeon Guts show. Next we have Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader versus Press Your Luck. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Don't even have to think about it. Next we have Cash Cab versus Hole in the Wall. I've seen much more Cash Cab than I've seen Hole in the Wall, so I'm gonna go Cash Cab. If I had to choose which, actually, I wouldn't mind being on either of those shows, to be honest. If I was on Cash Cab or Hole in the Wall, I'd be happy. Like, that would be awesome. We have Wipeout versus Supermarket Sweep. I haven't seen Supermarket Sweep, so Wipeout's gonna win. Even though I don't think Wipeout's really a game show, but I don't know what it's technically considered. Also, I just realized that if that's the left side of the bracket, the right side of the bracket's about to be stacked, and it's actually gonna make me so mad. It's gonna have, I imagine the right side's gonna have like Family Feud, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Price is Right, like, and any one of those four would win on this side easily. Like, there's not any of these shows can compete with that. So that's going to suck. I'm going to have some tough matchups there. Fear Factor versus Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I think Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader from a game show sense is more of a legitimate game show, so I will give it to Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader. Fear Factor I really like, but again, is it a game show? I mean, technically, I guess it is, but I would go Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, because that's, more people are going to watch that than Fear Factor, because some people can't stomach what they do on Fear Factor. Cash Cab versus Wipeout. I'm going to go Cash Cab. I feel like that's an actual game show. Now we have Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader versus Cash Cab. I'm going to go Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, which means Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader wins that side of the bracket. Oh, man, that's unfortunate, because this right side's going to be so stacked. I should have maybe edited this and looked at it a little more, but that's okay. You know what? I didn't make it, so you can't be mad at me. I'm just as mad, okay? I'm just as mad. Honestly, I kind of want to like make an executive decision to change that, but I've already gone through the whole left side, and I have whatever. Price is Right versus Deal or No Deal. I like Deal or No Deal. Price is Right is okay, but Deal or No Deal, I just it's it's so random. That's why I like it. Like there's literally no skill in Deal or No Deal. Like it's just like a gambler's paradise. It's like, oh, there could be $1 million in my case, or there could be 1 penny, and the dealer's offering me $37,000. Do I take it or do I take the chance? And then they don't take it, and then they end up getting the penny, and it's hilarious. So I'll go Deal or No Deal. Man, that's one thing. Deal or No Deal could easily win on the left side of the bracket. Like, and even Price is Right would have a good argument as well. Newlywed Game versus the dating game. I've never seen either of these, but I'll go with the Newlywed Game because I've actually heard of that. I've never heard of the dating game. American Gladiators versus American Ninja Warrior. Again, are these game shows? I don't consider these game shows. These are like competitions, but I'm gonna go American Ninja Warrior. I've actually seen that. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire versus America Says. I've seen both of these shows. I actually really like American Says. It's hosted by John Michael Higgins, my fiance, and I have watched a good amount of that show. It's actually very interesting, very cool. I like it. It's a cool game show. But Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It's a great game show. It's awesome. Also, Howie Mandel's on a new game show on Netflix that I don't remember what it's called. Oh, it's called BS. It's called BS actually, and it's actually very interesting. It's a very cool show. I really enjoyed watching it. Her and I already watched all of the seasons. But if you want like another game show to watch, there is swearing if you don't like swearing. But it's pretty interesting. It's actually really cool. It's trivia mixed with lying and like deception. It's really cool. We have the $100,000 Pyramid versus Minute to Win It. Dude, Minute to Win It. I've never really seen $100,000 Pyramid, but Minute to Win It, I thought that was the coolest show as a kid. And didn't Guy Fieri host it at one point? So like that's a win as well. We have The Chase, which I actually really like. The Chase versus Family Feud. I mean, if you don't know what The Chase is, it's actually a really good show. They have a really smart guy who knows a lot of trivia and has really high IQ, and he goes up against a couple contestants, and it's a very interesting concept. But Family Feud's Family Feud. Family Feud is also one of those ones that if it was on the left side of the bracket, it would have won that side. All right, we have Catch 21, which is hosted by Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air versus Jeopardy, and that's not even a question. Jeopardy, again, left side of the bracket, it would win. We have this one called Divided versus Wheel of Fortune. Like, see, so many powerhouses. Deal or No Deal, Family Feud, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Like, my goodness. Deal or No Deal versus the Newlywed Game, Deal or No Deal. We have American Ninja Warrior versus Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm going Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We have Minute to Win It versus Family Feud. We have Jeopardy versus Wheel of... Oh, my God. This is a second-round matchup. This is like a 2 number 1 seeds going up against each other. It's actually insane. This is actually really hard. Like, no joke. As a kid, like if I did this as a kid growing up, I would say 100% Wheel of Fortune. But I do really like trivia. Like, I like trivia a lot more now than I did when I was a kid, which is like why I would be interested in Jeopardy as well. That's really hard. Like, no joke. There's no right or wrong answer in my opinion here. They're both really good, both iconic game shows. They usually air right after. I think Jeopardy goes on, and then it's Wheel of Fortune right after too. So I don't know. I'm about to just flip a coin to see. Like, Wheel of Fortune is really fun because it's like fun to like guess. It's also like random. You spin the wheel, you just get lucky or you don't get lucky. The prizes are in Wheel of Fortune are better, and Jeopardy you have to be really smart and like insanely smart to win. Like it's like trivia for like Harvard alums. Like, it's crazy. I'll go with. Oh my goodness gracious! This is so hard. This is literally like 2 of the most iconic game shows of all time, and that's a second round matchup. I'm gonna go. Oh man, like if I think. Oh man, I don't know, dude. Like I think there's people listening to this that definitely feel strongly one way or the other, but like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here, and I think honestly, I'm gonna go with Wheel of Fortune. I'm going with Jeopardy. Jeopardy's iconic. I'm gonna go with Jeopardy. It's so close though. Like, that's not easy, and I do like both of them. So if you picked Wheel of Fortune over Jeopardy, there's nothing wrong with that. I could honestly probably say the same thing. It's like, it's really either or. It's literally as 50-50 as it can be. All right, next matchup, we have Deal or No Deal versus Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I do like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I do love those game shows where it's like, all right, you're working, this is a $1,000 question, this is a $2,000 question, this is a $5,000 question, etc., which is how Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is. But Deal or No Deal, the randomness of it, it's like it's a perfect show for a gambler. I'm not a gambler, but it's just fun. It's a great show to like watch. I like it, so we'll go Deal or No Deal. Oh, dude, we have Family Feud versus Jeopardy. Man, that's a really hard matchup too. But in my opinion, it's not as hard as the last matchup because I think Family Feud trumps that. I think Family Feud, Jeopardy is iconic, and Alex Trebek did a phenomenal job hosting. May he rest in peace. When he was hosting it, and like the show was great, and it is great still, I'd imagine, but I don't watch it anymore. The show is great and everything, but what Steve Harvey has done for Family Feud, like maybe the old hosts were good. Don't get me wrong, maybe they were, but what Steve Harvey has done for Family Feud is insane. Like that show, the show is more popular than it's ever been because of Steve Harvey, and he's such a great host. He's hilarious the way he jokes around with the contestants. He makes it funny. The contestants are hilarious on it. Jeopardy's a great show, but it's a little more serious. It's not as much joking around. And as much as I love, trivia and I like, hard questions like that, I do like when game shows are fun and they're not as serious and you can joke around. And I know that there's some joking around in Jeopardy, but compared to like Wheel of Fortune or Family Feud or Deal or No Deal, there's not nearly as much laughter. So I picked Family Feud, and if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I really think it's hard to beat Family Feud in general. Like again, Jeopardy's iconic, but I mean Family Feud's iconic too. Family Feud has been around for a long time as well, and like I said, what Steve Harvey's done for it, he's like basically revitalized the show in my opinion. All right, so I believe this is the championship matchup for this side of the bracket, which means whoever wins this will go on to play Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader in the championship game. We have Deal or No Deal versus Family Feud. Realistically, do I think Deal or No Deal is a top 5 game show of all time? I don't really know. I do think it's very good, but I think realistically a Wheel of Fortune or even a Jeopardy should be in this finale instead of Deal or No Deal. But considering the fact that that's just how the bracket was, it's unfortunate. I think Deal or No Deal is like a tier below. I think it's good. I think like Family Feud and Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune you could say are S tier, and I think Deal or No Deal is like A tier. I think it's just right below it. So I'm gonna pick Family Feud here. Again, Family Feud's very iconic. It's hard to beat, but I do think if Deal or No Deal was on the left side of the bracket, it could have potentially won that because the left side was so weak. I don't know who made this and why they would put all the heavyweights in one side because like, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader versus Family Feud is a championship game. And I think it really should be Wheel of Fortune versus Family Feud, Jeopardy versus Family Feud. You know what I mean? So I'm a bit surprised by this. I think Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is up there with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and maybe even Deal or No Deal. I think Deal or No Deal actually might be a little better too. So I don't know. That being said, I don't think there's any question that we're not going to go with Steve Harvey's Family Feud, aka Mr. Potato Head. I mean, that Family Feud, I could watch Family Feud I could watch it for hours and hours. I love Family Feud. It's such a great show, such a great game show. It's easy to watch. Steve Harvey's reactions and like interactions with the fans and the contestants and the answers, it's all great. It's all really well done. Like they give him a really good a long leash there so he can kind of joke around and say things. I really appreciate it. So yeah, Family Feud won that. Again, I don't think that's controversial. I think that's a pretty good consensus. If you think it should have been Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, I understand, but I think like people my age would agree Family Feud probably more so than the other two. If you're a little older, you might agree with like Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune more so because those are a bit more iconic. But yeah, that's the rank up. That's the rank up. The next rank up we're gonna do. Well, I shouldn't say it's the next one because I don't know if it'll be the next one, but we're gonna be ranking board games at some point, which I'm really excited to do. I really like board games. I love board games. I love doing game nights and stuff like that. That's something that I don't think a lot of people know about me, but like I love board games. Like I literally will play board games with my friends on like my PlayStation or like my PC if there's a game for it. Like legit, I love it. Like Uno, Sorry, like Monopoly. Well, Monopoly's meh, but like Monopoly, like games like that. Like I really do enjoy playing them. So, all right, so we're gonna be ending the episode now, and I'm just jumping all over the place. I know that was not a smooth transition, but it's okay. So I'm gonna talk before I end it. I just want to say I took obviously the week off in between. I'm considering a couple things, and I actually would really like some feedback from you guys. And I'm like 50-50 on it. So I'm either going to be switching to every other week for the podcast for the foreseeable future, just because I don't have a lot to talk about right now. I'm busy doing stuff. Like my creative focus is not on this, which it should be, and that's my fault, I know, but it's on other things, and so I will be honest. The reason I took a week break was because I was feeling a little burnt out on the podcast. And like I said, I am having social anxiety, asking my friends to come on the show, which I need to work on. But I just think I do think every week is a bit aggressive. Like it's an aggressive goal. And I think I did a pretty good job, up until my break, of course. But I think for me not to feel as burnt out, it would be a lot better for me to just, all right, let's do every other week. So it's 2 episodes a month or maybe 3 episodes a month, depending on the month. And, I can just feel better and I can not I don't dread it, but it just, that way I don't get burnt out. Cause obviously I took that week off, but I don't want to do 8 more episodes in a row for the next 8 weeks and then just keep continuously feeling burnt out. So I'm either considering doing that or my fiance had an idea, which I actually kind of like. I do like this idea. I just don't know if I'm going to do it because I don't know how well it would be for my podcast, but I really do like the idea. She gave me an idea of doing it in seasons almost. So after episode 16 or 17 or 18, whatever I want, I take a 2 or 3 month break and then I have season 2, quote unquote, and then I just, where I have 15 to 20 straight weeks of episodes, and then I do another 2 month break and so on and so forth. I think that would be really interesting, and that could be something that would be really good for the podcast, because if I give myself, a month or two to record and plan and schedule guests, I could actually make it to where most of my episodes have guests on it, as opposed to every other. I could make it so if I do seasons, I could do let's say I had 18 episodes in a season, I could do it to where I have guests on 12 of those episodes, as opposed to having guests on 9 of the episodes. Because then I can text people and we can schedule stuff in advance, and I can film it. I could film an episode 2 months before I air it, and that, you know what I mean? Because that's what a lot of podcasts do anyways. A lot of actual podcasts do. I could film an episode 2 months before I air it, and I could have time to edit, and I could have time to get it all scheduled and whatnot, and it would be, I think that could be good too. But I don't know how much people would like having to wait a month or two or whatever. It'd be at most a 2 month break. I wouldn't do more than that. If I I'd probably would go till the end of this month and then start up again either end of September or early October. Because I have October episodes in mind. Like I said, I want to do a horror special with Nia and stuff like that, and talk about stuff like that in October. But I do like the idea of doing seasons, doing anywhere from 16 to 20 episodes. That way, you think about it, you can get 16 to 20 straight weeks of the show, and then I can be having guests on a lot of the shows, and I can actually have it scheduled, and I can be more interactive and get feedback from fans and get suggestions on what to talk about, and be a lot more ahead of it. And it might be better for me to do that once I'm back working and the school year starts anyways. So we'll see. If you know me, you can message me and let me know what you think. I'm open to either one, or if you have a different idea, you can let me know. Or if you don't personally talk to me, you can just comment on the YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and just let me know what you think. What would you personally rather see? I'm open to, like I said, I'm open to either one. I think there's pros and cons to both, obviously, and I'm not leaning towards either one way or the other. So just let me know. Either way, there's a lot of work to be involved, because even if I take the 2 months off, I'm still going to be planning, and I'll still be filming in those 2 months. So it's not I'll just be doing nothing. And even if I do every other week, where I do 2 episodes a month, I'll be still recording in those free times and planning in those free times. So let me know what you think. I know the seasons thing, it's not really what podcasts do, but it's more what TV shows and stuff would do. But I do think it is a very interesting concept, because I know most podcasts post every week or every other week or whatever, but we'll see. So just let me know what you guys think. I am very curious to know what, I know I don't have a lot of people that listen to it, but I'd be very curious to know what people that do listen would prefer. Would it be harder for you to go 2 months or whatever without the podcast, and then to get back into it once the podcast comes, or would you be more excited to listen to an episode after the 2 months and listen to those 20 episodes or whatever, instead of waiting every other week? Would you be you know what I mean? So let me know. That's what we're thinking of right now. So yeah, that's that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for watching or listening, wherever you're consuming this from, whether it's Spotify or Apple or Google or YouTube or whatever. I don't know where else the podcast is on. It's on a bunch of stuff, but I appreciate it. Yeah, you can, if you're listening to it, you should go to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. You can see the video podcast. It goes up the same day. And if you want, you can follow me on TikTok. I haven't been posting as much, but I do post sometimes, and I think I'm pretty funny on there. I'm really not that funny, but I think I'm funny, so that's all that matters. I appreciate it. Wishing you guys good mental health. I will see you in 2 weeks. I'll probably skip a week, potentially. So I'll see you, and the very least, in 2 weeks. I won't start the seasons thing for a little bit if I do that. So at the very latest, I will see you in 2 weeks, but maybe I'll see you next week. We'll see how things go. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you then. Peace.